But I go, can I just try another one? That moment comes. I turn around and all my army are literally like this.
When Gerard Butler shouted, "This is Sparta," the world listened, but no one truly knew what it took to get there. Behind the iconic lines and blood-splattered visuals was a story of obsession, sacrifice, and nearly unbearable physical toll. Now, after years of silence, Butler is finally opening up. Why did this film nearly destroy him? What really happened behind the camera? We've gathered exclusive insights, on-set accounts, and Butler's own confessions to uncover what fans never saw. This isn't just about making a movie. This is about what it cost to become a cinematic legend, a Spartan blockbuster nobody saw coming. When 300 hit theaters in 2007, no one expected it to become a global phenomenon. The film didn't have an A-list cast. It wasn't a traditional war epic, and its hyper-stylized visuals were seen as risky by Hollywood standards. But director Zack Snyder had a vision, one rooted in Frank Miller's gritty graphic novel, and he brought it to life with stunning precision. It wasn't just a movie, it was an experience.
Okay, so I was looking at your IMDb, but it was like a while before 300. You know, you had been in the business for a while, but then when that movie hits, oh my God, it hits so hard!
300 roared into the box office with an opening weekend gross of approximately $70.9 million. That number shocked executives, especially since the film's budget was just $60 million. By the end of its run, it had earned over $456 million worldwide, proving that audiences were hungry for something bold, bloody, and new. Critics may have been divided, but fans turned 300 into a cult classic almost overnight. The film's unique look, shot mostly on blue screens with digital backgrounds, created an immersive world that felt more myth than history. Each slow-motion slash of a sword, every rallying cry from King Leonidas burned into pop culture memory. Beyond the screen, 300 sparked a movement. The ripped physiques of Butler and his fellow Spartans inspired gym-goers around the world. The now famous 300 workout became a benchmark of strength and endurance, further fueling the film's legacy in fitness culture. But while the world celebrated its cinematic glory, very few knew the truth. This movie came at a brutal cost. The pain, injuries, and sacrifices behind the scenes were as epic and as dangerous as the battles on screen. And that pain? It wasn't fiction. Gerard Butler was about to live it every single day. The injuries they never talked about. Behind the blood-soaked glory of 300 was a set defined by chaos, exhaustion, and physical pain. Gerard Butler may have looked like a fearless Spartan king, but off-camera, he and the rest of the cast were paying a steep price for every slow-motion battle. Butler later revealed that injuries were a daily occurrence. "I remember every day somebody was getting taken to the hospital," he said. One day, a spear nearly took out an actor's eye. Another day, someone broke an ankle during a mistimed fall. The fights may have been choreographed, but the danger was always real. Bruises, muscle tears, and cuts became part of the daily routine. The pressure came not just from performing, but from the way Snyder shot the film. Most actors were expected to do their own stunts, often repeating high-impact moves for hours while wearing heavy gear. This wasn't just acting. It was a full-contact war waged in a hot, blue-screen warehouse. Making things harder, the actors weren't reacting to real enemies or environments. Everything was digital. That meant they had to imagine every fight, every background, every drop of blood, and sell it with total conviction. The physical and mental toll of this kind of performance pushed the cast to their absolute limits. Butler described feeling completely drained by the end of each day. It wasn't glamorous, it was grueling. And every iconic moment on screen, every heroic pose, every thunderous roar, was earned through pain, sweat, and repetition. And the suffering didn't stop when the cameras rolled. It started long before, months before, in a place even tougher than the battlefield, the gym, the workout that nearly broke Butler. Before they even stepped onto set, Gerard Butler and the cast of 300 were thrown into a physical boot camp so intense, it became the stuff of Hollywood legend. Their goal wasn't just to look like Spartans, they had to become them.
I started training probably 4 months before the movie even started, and I was doing 6 hours a day. I got my own trainer on the side, and I trained with the film trainer, who's this insane mountain climber who it was his job to kill us.
Butler trained 7 days a week for 7 months, leading up to filming. His workouts lasted up to 6 hours a day, under the guidance of elite trainer Mark Twight from Jim Jones. This wasn't about typical Hollywood fitness. Twight's program was military level, combining CrossFit, weightlifting, circuit training, and simulated combat drills. The infamous 300 workout was born here. 300 reps of pure pain, designed to sculpt warriors out of actors. The goal? Functional strength, not just shredded abs. These Spartans needed to fight, run, fall, and recover, take after take, without slowing down. Between takes on set, they kept working out to maintain the same muscle tone they had when cameras started rolling. There was no break, ever. But this transformation came at a cost. Butler has since admitted the training ruined his body. He tore a rotator cuff, suffered from tendinitis, and at one point could barely lift his arms. Even after filming ended, he was in so much pain he didn't work out for over a year. Still, Butler refused to quit. For him, playing Leonidas wasn't just about lines and choreography. It was about suffering, sacrifice, earning the right to stand as a king on screen. But while the physical transformation was extreme, what Butler did next pushed things even further, into something emotional, psychological, and nearly spiritual. Butler's mental spiral and method madness. For Gerard Butler, transforming into King Leonidas went far beyond muscles and stunts. This was personal. He didn't just want to act like a Spartan king. He wanted to become one, inside and out. And that meant diving into a level of mental, emotional, and even spiritual commitment that nearly consumed him. In interviews years later, Butler confessed he would meditate daily, trying to channel Leonidas through a weird portal. That wasn't just metaphor.
And the rest of it was me trying to hold up my end of the bargain. Take on this character, do Leonidas proud, do the Spartans proud, do Alan Horn proud. It led me to this incredibly tunnel-visioned kind of preparation and focus. Just die hard.
He claimed to mentally place himself on the battlefield, imagining the fear, the sacrifice, the duty of leading 300 men to their deaths. It wasn't about hitting marks or memorizing lines. It was about feeling every heartbeat of the character. This intensity extended to doing his own stunts, even when it was risky. Butler insisted on throwing himself into battle scenes full force, saying it made the action feel real. In one adrenaline-filled fight, he was so lost in the moment he barely remembered the choreography, just the rage, the roar, and the rush. But this kind of immersion wasn't safe. Butler was constantly battling exhaustion, dehydration, and injuries, passing out on set, limping between scenes, and still refusing to take shortcuts. He even admitted that the experience nearly broke him. The production conditions didn't help. Long days in sweltering studios, surrounded by blue screens instead of real scenery, made it hard to stay grounded. The actors had to imagine every moment, blood, battle, emotion, while staring at blank walls. And yet, Butler never pulled back. He believed the only way to honor Leonidas was to live as he might have. The pain, the pressure, the obsession, it all became part of the performance. But as the cameras rolled, something unexpected happened. Not just to Butler, but to the entire cast. A brotherhood was forming, and it would define the heart of the film. The brotherhood that forged Sparta. Behind every shield wall, there was more than just choreography. There was trust. What most fans never realized is that 300 didn't just rely on stylized visuals and explosive action. Its emotional weight came from something real. The bond formed between the cast.
I wanted that role so badly, and I remember being told by the producers, we want you, but we're scared to go to Alan Horn, who's the president of Warner Brothers, just in case he doesn't want you.
Gerard Butler has often said that what made the film truly powerful wasn't just the workouts or the war cries, it was the sense of unity that grew behind the scenes. The actors weren't just colleagues, they were soldiers in the same trench, suffering, sweating, and pushing each other to the limit. Every grueling training session at Jim Jones became a shared trial. Hours of flipping tires, sprinting, and sword fighting in silence created something deeper than fitness. It created loyalty. They weren't just building muscle, they were building a mentality. The actors even ate together, recovered together, and leaned on one another when the toll became too much. Michael Fassbender once credited this bond with helping him stay committed. Dominic West and David Wenham recalled the respect and energy that drove the group. Even Lena Headey, who had fewer physical scenes, felt the emotional force that the ensemble carried. It wasn't manufactured, it was earned through shared pain. By the time the cameras started rolling, the cast moved like a unit. Their on-screen chemistry was real. They knew each other's limits. They felt each other's fatigue. That brotherhood translated directly into the film's most iconic moments, when Leonidas stands shoulder to shoulder with his warriors, facing death without fear. That sense of unity was the soul of 300. And it's what elevated the film from action epic to emotional legend. Thanks for watching. If Gerard Butler's behind-the-scenes revelations gave you a new perspective on 300, share your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to know what surprised you most. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our celebrity deep dives. Ready for more Hollywood secrets and iconic movie truths? Check out the next video on your screen. You won't believe what we uncovered.